It all began on an unusually quiet Wednesday afternoon. I had just pulled into my driveway after work and was unloading bags of groceries when a woman appeared seemingly out of nowhere. She had tight curls bouncing around her shoulders, oversized sunglasses perched on her face, and clutched a clipboard like it was a shield. It was Karen, the self-proclaimed ruler of the HOA. "Hi there," she chirped far too cheerfully, her tone carrying the kind of enthusiasm that felt more like a warning than a greeting. "Just a quick reminder, the HOA's annual summer block party is coming up, and we're expecting contributions from every household." I forced a polite smile. "Oh, yes, I remember the flyer. Thanks for the reminder." Karen arched a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. "So, how much should I put you down for?" "Most families are donating at least $100, you know, for the bounce house, fireworks, it's all for the kids." I hesitated. I enjoy a good party as much as the next person, but I hardly ever go outside, let alone to HOA gatherings. "I think I'll pass this year," I said casually. "Budget's a bit tight." Her smile froze in place, sharp and brittle. "Excuse me, I just can't contribute this time." "I hope it goes well though." Karen stood there for an uncomfortably long beat, before whipping out her highlighter and marking something on her clipboard with aggressive precision. "Well, we'll see about that," she said, her tone leaving no doubt that she considered my response a personal affront. From that day forward, things changed. Within a few days, the little annoyances started piling up. Lawn inspection notices appeared on my door. HOA newsletters carried snide comments about residents who lack community spirit. A passive-aggressive post showed up on the neighborhood Facebook group, calling out freeloaders without naming names. I tried to brush it off as a coincidence. Maybe I was imagining it. Then came the trash can incident. One morning, I found a violation notice taped to my front door. "Trash bins left out longer than 12 hours will incur a fine." The problem was, my bins were already inside. Curious, I checked my security camera footage, and there she was, Karen, dragging my bins back out to the street herself. It hit me then. This wasn't just petty, it was personal. She had declared war over a $100 party donation, and backing down was not an option. After the trash bin stunt, it became obvious Karen had officially lost it. I considered confronting her, but instinct told me that direct confrontation would only make things worse, and I wasn't wrong. Within the next week, 3 more HOA violations landed on my doorstep. One for grass that was supposedly too long, even though I had mowed it just 2 days prior. One for an unapproved mailbox color, despite never touching it. And one for hostile attitude toward HOA leadership. That last one actually made me laugh. Is that even a real rule? Reaching out to the HOA board proved pointless. Unsurprisingly, Karen was in charge. She had a stranglehold on the board, and anyone who questioned her vanished quietly from consideration. A neighbor told me she once got fined $50 for sidewalk chalk drawings her 6-year-old made. 6 years old. By this point, the summer party Karen was orchestrating was only days away. Banners stretched across trees, a massive grill sat in her driveway, and a DJ truck with her name plastered on the side had pulled up. She was going all out. Then the strangest thing happened. I woke up one morning to find a wrinkled piece of paper taped to my window. No envelope, just a message in bright red marker. "People who don't support this neighborhood shouldn't live in it." It wasn't signed. But I didn't need Sherlock Holmes to know who was behind it. I went to the police not to report a crime, but to have an official record, just in case. The officer took my statement patiently and said, "Honestly, we've had a few complaints about that HOA lately." That was somewhat reassuring, but Karen wasn't finished yet. The very next day, my Amazon packages vanished. Security footage confirmed it. Karen, in broad daylight, snatching a box off my porch, waving at the camera like she was performing gas evict duty. I printed the footage, burned it to a USB, and dropped it at the police station. Enough was enough. With the neighborhood party just 2 days away, I had a feeling things were about to explode. And explode they did. The day of the HOA summer party arrived like a rolling storm. By noon, music blared across the streets. The scent of grilled burgers filled the air, and Karen strutted around in a wide sun hat like she was the mayor of a small town nobody elected. I stayed inside, windows closed, curtains drawn, determined not to give her the satisfaction but keeping an eye on the cameras nonetheless. Around 3:00 p.m., there was a knock at my door. I ignored it. Then came another knock, longer, louder, more insistent. Then banging. I checked the camera feed. Unsurprisingly, it was Karen. She was standing on my porch in full party mode regalia, holding a paper plate with a single charred hot dog and a cupcake that looked like it had survived a desert drought. I switched on the speaker. Not interested, Karen. Please leave. She didn't budge. It's rude to ignore the community. You've ruined the vibe for the entire block. I repeated calmly. Leave now. Unfazed. She slammed the plate down on my welcome mat and turned to walk away. But not before yelling over her shoulder, "You'll regret this." An hour later, I noticed two teenagers sprinting away from my backyard. When I ran outside to investigate, I saw the aftermath. My patio furniture was covered in a sticky, glittery mess of soda and smashed eggs. My security camera confirmed my worst fears. There was Karen, instructing the kids like a general commanding troops, telling them to decorate my backyard because I refused to join the party. Without hesitation, I called the cops. While waiting, I stepped out to start cleaning the mess from my porch, and there she was, screaming across the yard at the top of her lungs, in front of dozens of neighbors. "You're the cancer in this community. You think you're better than the rest of us." Heads turned. Partygoers froze. I stayed calm. "Karen," I said, "I have you on camera trespassing and vandalizing. Police are on the way," she snapped. Red-faced, phone in hand, she charged across the lawn, yelling something about filing charges against me for emotional distress. Perfect timing. Two police cruisers pulled up. Karen spun around, eyes wide. "Officers! Thank God you're here. He's harassing me. He's a danger to the neighborhood." One officer interrupted gently. "Ma'am, we have video evidence that says otherwise. We'd like you to come with us for questioning." Her jaw dropped. "What? No. He's the problem." Calmly, the officers escorted her to the car while the neighborhood watched in stunned silence. Cupcake in hand, mouths agape. People couldn't believe it. Karen was arrested. News of her arrest spread faster than wildfire. Party guests suddenly pretended they'd never liked her. One guy even unplugged the DJ's equipment, mumbling, "Guess. Maybe the party's over." I won't lie, it felt pretty satisfying. The next morning, the neighborhood was eerily quiet. No passive-aggressive HOA notices. No new clipboard crusades. No snide flyers, emails, or Facebook posts, just peace. I later heard from one of the officers that Karen had been charged with misdemeanor harassment and trespassing, and was under investigation for tampering with mail, thanks to the porch footage. Apparently, I wasn't the only victim. The HOA board convened an emergency meeting without her, of course. Neighbors came forward with stories they'd been too afraid to share before. One woman fined for hanging Halloween decorations too early, another showing threatening messages over garden placement disputes. The board voted unanimously to suspend Karen indefinitely from all HOA duties and opened a formal complaint process against her. A few neighbors even came by my house to thank me. One handed me cookies. Another just nodded awkwardly and said, "Respect." Strangest of all, the HOA refunded my last two fines. After reviewing the evidence, they realized Karen had fabricated a lot of them. A few days later, a "for sale" sign appeared in her yard. Rumor had it she was moving closer to family, but we all knew the truth. She wasn't welcome here anymore. The neighborhood changed after that. People smiled more, waved more, and actually talked to one another. The passive-aggressive tension that had hung over every streetlight and flowerbed disappeared. I even got invited to the next block party, not out of obligation, but by choice. And guess what? I didn't donate a single dime. Still had the time of my life. Because real community isn't built on clipboards, fines, or cupcakes thrown in anger. It's built on respect. If you've ever dealt with the crazy HOA, or this story hooked you, hit that like button. Share your own wild neighborhood drama in the comments. I read every single one. and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life madness. Things only get crazier from here.